Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Monday, August 3rd. So we are in August, wrapped up July, actually with a pretty positive note. We started off, we had a nice little rally into the close and started off the overnight with a little pop. We will see if they can hold on to that. NASDAQ doesn't look like it, but the ES looks like it's holding on pretty good. The big news over the weekend, obviously, is that they did not follow through with the attack. They're back in negotiating or talking about it. Or doing whatever they're doing in that whole process. The we have news come out this week, a ton of it. So before we get started, let's take a look at that. So today we actually have news drive in the market. So at 9:45, nothing at 8:30 by the way, but at 9:45 we get the PMI manufacturing. At 10 o'clock we get ISM and construction spending. Tuesday, we have international trade factory orders and job openings. Wednesday, ADP report, ISM services, PMI composite. Thursday, productivity, jobless claims, and Friday we have the employment situation. That's going to be an interesting one. First, employment situation for well, not the first one, but it's an employment situation a couple of times now after the Fed share shift. So we'll see how the workforce is holding up. So far, I mean, the jobless claims has been nothing but low across the board. So we'll see what kind of job situation we have. But we had news coming out pretty much every day throughout the week, so interesting. But you can see as we start off the trading day, I think the big news right now is going to be how the market reacts to the pause in fighting. Oil is down quite a bit. They're trading right now at 79, so heading breaking the 80 barrier. Let's see if they're going to hold on to this or what's going to happen with that negotiation. It's always, I mean, you can't. You get nauseous looking at trying to follow along the twists and turns. But it's there would have been, I guess, a big attack over the weekend unless they some last minute diplomacy stepped in. You can believe whatever you want, but it's the as long as it keeps going back and forth like that, the oil is going to be a little bit rassled into the upside, and it's going to be leaning towards leaning on the oil prices. So I was the fuel diesel here in California where I'm at around about 7.29 on Friday. Sunday was like 6.89 or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy high, no matter what you do. So anyway, starting off the trading day today, I'm going to start range bound on the ES with a slight bias to the upside, just given the news over the weekend. I'm not quite sure the market is going to put too much stock in it. It's a bit too many starts and stops like this for it to really have a big impact. But it did have some impact. So we'll see if they can hold on to these gains now. The ES is up above this 75.15 area. They're still below the 75.95. This is the range we're trading in quite a bit. And remember, we adjusted it a little bit. So our range, the bigger the outside range is really all the way down here to the 73.50, all the way up here to the 76.30s. So that's where we have the overall the range. They've been trading in this range all the way since April 12th. That's when this whole distribution started. And we've spent a fair amount of time up here above that 7,500 level. Now we're back up there again. We were down here all the way down to the 73.50s just the other day. So, it can move pretty quick. So I'm going to fold this back together again. Fold the distributions back in. And this was Friday's trading. They popped a little bit. We're holding up here. So starting off range bound, looking to buy buying strength or favored alongside to get started with a little bit of caution. So starting off, looking to buy against that 75.40s, the 75.30s, 25s, down to the 15s here. So these four areas. Below the 15s, I'm going to just take off the long bias and go back range bound. But starting off thinking that, okay, if we get a little bit of a pullback from the get-go, we have a shot at getting long for rotations back up. But it is, I would just emphasize range-bound trading because we are in a big trading range. Most of the time, we're going to be sitting in a trading range throughout the day session, but we may have little runs. Usually, the morning run is either a sell-off or a little rally. Usually happens. It has been quite a fewer than I would expect days where it's just been going sideways and no run at all in the trading day. So we can probably expect some movement directionally in the morning, but if it's going to be down or up, anyone to guess. Initially, I'm going to start off expecting the bull to try to take it higher. So I would, if we get some early weakness, I would try to get long against that. Now, if we get some rotations to the upside first, they start trading higher and then start pulling back, I would just be a little bit less aggressive on it, on these buying opportunities. But sometimes you get this little fake out to the upside. They start taking it a little bit higher, a couple of levels higher, and then they start running it lower. But as they start taking out the lows, I would not be super aggressive on this. Right now, if they start pulling back a little bit, I would look for that buying opportunity. If they start taking it higher first, I would not be that aggressive on those buying opportunities. I would be more looking for, okay, they're trying to run it lower instead at that point. It's all about trying to figure out what the market is trying to do and adjust to it. If they start trying to take this higher, I would look for short opportunities against that 75, 65s, the 80s up to the 90s here. A little bit of caution, not super aggressively because it's we are leaning a little bit to the long side, so stepping in front of it going to be not quite what I want to do from the get-go. But running it higher here, we're going to be running into this upper area of volume. Little volume skew up here at the 75, 85 to the 95, 7600s. So this little volume skew area is what we're going to come up to right up here on the F2. So when it gets up there, I would look for a short opportunity, maybe a little bit more aggressively, but that would be a level I would expect it to potentially fail and start trading back down again. So starting off, favoring the long side. If we get early weakness, in other words, from where we are right now, to start taking that lower, I would look to buy against 75.40s, 75.30s, and that's a little tiny area, this little volume node right there, and it matches up with an edge back here as well. So that's why I marked that up in a smaller area. So looking to buy against that 75, 40, 42, 40 to 45, 75, 33s to 35s, 75, 25s, 75, 15s here for rotations up. So this guy here is more, it's a pretty tight range. So either is going to work or not right away at that point. And if they start trading higher from the get-go, looking for shorts against the 65s, the 75s up to the 90s for rotations back down again. If they start trading below that 75.15s, bets are off. I think we are back down again. This little move to the upside we had late on Friday, which looks like it's holding on today, will be reversed and we'll be pretty much back twisting in the wind, trading in this range again. So that would mean basically if they take out that 75.50 and trading back down below this guy into this low volume area. And as you can see, this, if you look at it looks kind of busy, but look at the volume behind it, the gray histogram behind it, the TPOs, the characters. You see it down here, we have a low volume area right there. And that's going to get filled out at one point. So you can expect it to trade back and forth here a little bit, filling out volume here as it creates a distribution and comes to balance. So that's where we are on the ES. To get started this morning, looking at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ also, they made some good progress here. I'm going to fold these together, but they were way down here. They retraced back up here. They took out these two areas on Friday. They're back reverse retesting the 28,460 to 500 right now. And we had a couple of days on a nice little pop here Thursday, Friday. They traded up, then they knocked the crap out of us. They really ran it lower. Then they retraced pretty good and closed at least in the top third of the distribution. So that was the part. Well, no, they didn't. They pulled it back into the close. Sorry about that. They pulled it back. They were up here again trying the last half hour, and then they knocked it down right into the close. That was late in the session. And so starting off with a nice gap up, and that obviously is the gap has to do with the oil prices and the pause in fighting. But you can see Nasdaq kind of pulling back already on this one. So if Nasdaq pulls back like this, you probably expect ES to follow suit. But they have so far the ES is holding on pretty good, and kind of holding the line still at least. So for Nasdaq, still looking to buy weakness at least right down here to the level they're at the 400s. So I was going to say this morning against the 465 and the 400s, but it took out the 465 already. But while I was doing the analysis and mulling things over, so they're down here at the 400s. And if they stay below the 400s, I would just take off the long bias and go back range bound on this guy. They have a lot of range left before they get up. They need to get up above this area, the 29 300s. If they can get up above that one, I would be more inclined to be more positive on the long side. But right now, this was a nice little run up here going into the close of July, and we may just see more weakness in August. It's hard to say if this little run up was more strategic because there was the end of the month kind of a rally. But the last couple of weeks in July, we have nothing but pressure on the Nasdaq. So tech pressure, it's like they yes, absolutely putting the wood to the market, if you wish. So if we get some strength here and they can take out that 28 800, I would be staying on the long side of this, at least leaning towards the long side. Right now we are just there, reverse retesting the 400s. So they start backing off. We are back. I will take off the long bias and go back range bound. They go below that 200, 28 200. We are back on the short side again. So let's see if Nasdaq is going to start off August with a bang, or if there's just going to be a whimper and then weakness. We'll see. So at this point, the last one to buy against, based on the long bias, will be the 400s, based on the little pop to the upside. So below 400, taking off the long bias, but still looking to buy against the 350s, 300s, maybe down to the 200s here with a bit of caution. When they start trading below this area here, the 200s, that would be that lower that lower range. So below that 200 level, well, that's when bets are off. So we still have a few buying opportunities ahead of us if they keep pulling back, but it's never a good sign when the Nasdaq starts failing like this. And if they start trading above the London high or the session highs, I would be a lot more inclined to stay on the long side. That takes us up at least halfway up above this area of resistance. But right now, I would look for shorts against the 630s and the 700s. The last one would be 770. So these three levels, I would look for short opportunities. Rotations down, that's basically back up here, retesting this resistance area or the congestion area. So let's see if Nasdaq is going to be playing games with us again and be all over the place. We'll see. But right now, when it looks like this, backing off a little bit, I'm getting a little bit concerned about getting a little bit of a sell-off right from the get-go. We will see. I would not count on it just yet, but when it looks like this, chances are we're going to get some weakness. Let me see here. All right, that's not the one I wanted. That's the wrong one. This guy. Let me see. No, not that one. All right, so that's the ES and the Nasdaq. So the ES range bound right now, as long as they hold that 75.40s, and they're looking to buy against these 3-4 levels, that's 75.15 before we change our bias. But yeah, so we have a little bit of weakness ahead of us on the ES before we had to worry about it. On the Nasdaq, we already seen some of that weakness develop, and let's see if that if they can hold that line or not. And as I said, below the 400. Taking off the long bias, below the 200, hopping on the short side of this. Now, in the overall volume, it's been a little bit to the downside. So you have 180,000 on the micro ES, 670 on the micro Nasdaq. So that's not a lot of volume right now. Usually, it's a little bit more volume if it's a busy overnight. The full size ES is at 178 right now. So little bit normal. Usually, yeah, calm days you usually have 180, around about 100,000 on the ES by this time. So we're a little bit higher, but we also have a lot of stuff going on in the world. Now, finally, looking at the bonds, the bond market took a big dump here the other day. They were way down. So Friday's trading took it all the way down here to the 108. So that spiked the rates. We had the so this is Friday's trading. Thursday trading was a little bit holding pattern. Wednesday trading after the Bourse announcement, big move to the downside. The bonds went from 110 down to 108. So not a great sign. Now they're retracing a little bit. I mean, I'm thinking it's an orderly sell-off going on in the bonds. Where's the floor? Who knows? But the yields are getting pretty darn high, and it's going to definitely have a drag on the market when it like that, especially when this corporate debt is coming out to be refinanced. You have all those debt refinancing going on, but they also have a bunch of companies borrowing money from in the bond market to spend on their AI spend, and that's another part of it. So a lot of demand for money, and with the depending on what the money is used for, the rate demands kind of go up a little bit. So right now, I would just start off with a slight bias to the upside, given the overnight, and we're trying to go with it. But I would look for short setups against the 109.12, 109.16, 109.24 for rotations down. I would say that 109.5 to 6, but we are kind of trading above it right now. That setup you're looking at right now on the right, you see that 3-4 bars lining up like that, a little bit of volume lining up like that. That's usually a pretty good sign. A little bit too early yet to call out the good setup or to a tradable setup, but that's the kind of setup I'm looking for during the day session when there's a little bit more activity for a potential fade trade. I would look to short as a move like that for a little pop to the downside. But then right now, I had to wait for the market. It actually just opened at 8:20. So they just opened. So we'll see what the market's going to do now. I would look to buy against the 109s and the 108.26s for rotations up. But below that session lows, the London session low and the session lows, both in that a 108.26 area. And below that, I would take off any long biases and actually go over to the short side pretty much right away. At that point, I think they maybe has taken this back here to retest the lows at 108.10. So I think the bond market is still trading lower. This feels very much like a dead cat bounce kind of thing, trading up a little bit, but it's just take it with a bit of caution. So instead, if they keep the runnings higher, I would look for short setups or rotations down, changing my bias above the 109.24 at that point. And if they take out the 108.26s, I'm going to say be more aggressive on the short side and see if they can run it down all the way down to retest that 108.8 to 10. All right, guys. So back to the ES, and there you go. Back to the ES. Well, the crypto wise, not much to say about the cryptos right now. I mean, just before I keep moving, they have been back and forth. Crypto kind of dumped out to the 62. Yeah, so my dog just came down and started crying at me. So like demand, shut up, Blue. Get going with this. Anyway, so the cryptos they dumped pretty good Friday when the Coinbase is sold off and the cryptos dumped. All probably because that Clarity Act is stalling out, and that's not a good sign. So that's going to be a bad sign for the cryptos and the stablecoin markets if they can't get that sorted out. And that's just one of those things which you kind of have to get fixed. I mean, that crypto industry is not going to survive. It's going to survive, but it's not going to thrive if they can't get that legislation together, and most likely move and do more stuff offshore. This gold, silver not doing too much, just kind of slopping around. The trading both gold is at 4,100, silver is still at the around 57. Oil back down again, and that's probably pretty tradable on the crypto side of things or Coinbase. So I'm going to say just not much more to say about it. We'll see. I'm going to be watching oil on the crypto, see if it provides some opportunities. But it's still kind of light on volume and a little bit whippy, so I'll take it with a grain of salt. So that's all I have to say about cryptos this morning. Back to the ES and the Nasdaq. So we know what to get started with. The ES is starting off range bound, looking to buy early weakness. Nasdaq always showing some early weakness, so we'll see if that's going to drag everything down. And so we have the 400s and we have the 200s on the Nasdaq to pay attention to. And on the ES, going to be down here at the 75.15 to pay attention to that level if they start taking that their market below it. All right, guys, so we'll wrap it there. This Monday, August 3rd, beginning of the month. Let's see how the market feels about everything. All right, guys, good trading, and I'll see you guys back at 11:30 for the next update. Okay, later.